Boys, welcome back. It's another episode of Viva La Cats. I'm your host, Justin Hiles, accompanied by my great friends, Steve Maurer and Joel Spencer, and we are here to recap the Bearcats finally getting it done in the fourth quarter and beating the Kansas Jayhawks. We have a little bit of a loaded schedule today. We're going to recap the Kansas game. We're going to preview the Iowa State game, have our friend Brownie join us to do so as well. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Reds, talk a little bit about the Bengals, unfortunately, and our Bearcat Sports wrap up at the end. So we're going to cover a bunch, but we're going to start with the Kansas game. The Bearcats off to a 3-1 start. They have, after week one's pretty tough loss, gone on a nice little run here. This is actually the first time, for those of you who do not know, the first time under Scott Satterfield that the Bearcats have won 3 straight games. Has not happened until now, but here we are. And they're looking to capitalize going into the Iowa State game. So let's unpack this one. 37-34 win on the road in Kansas. Steve, what are the initial vibes? Yeah.
That's the initial vibes, baby. A victory on the road with our friends Cincy Light. Shout out to them. Justin, you did not unfortunately get to watch this game, and I did. Shout out to the TNT broadcast. I think the play-by-play announcer left a little bit to be desired, if I'm being really honest, but I'm a Mike Golick stan. I love the studio. I loved everything about that broadcast. So if we get more TNT games, I'm all over it. I'll watch every second. TNT, please love us and give us your money. Anyway, let's get to the game real quick. So Brendan Sorsby, 440 yards, total yards, 2 touchdowns, named the co-offensive Big 12 Player of the Week for this performance. A game-winning drive. He said in the postgame that this was his first ever game-winning drive in his life or something. So shout out to him for that. That's pretty cool. And I think the thing that kind of defined this game is a one-score win that we haven't had many of those. A game where the margin was close and you didn't make the big mistake this time. They gave up a touchdown at the start of the second half, but they did not have a end of first half blunder like they have unfortunately often had during his tenure. Defense bend don't break. I'm not going to say it was like the 85 Bears out there or the 2021 Cincinnati Bearcats out there, but they made it. They made the key play when they needed it most with that turnover. Shout out to Antoine Peak Jr. By the way, 6 forced fumbles. That leads the conference since the start of last season. Joel, I heard our friend Chad Brendel on his show the other day say that a local establishment in the Clifton area needs to name a drink the Peak Punch. How would you feel about some sort of beverage named the Peak Punch? And would you enjoy a beverage named the Peak Punch?
100% I would enjoy it. Look, I don't care if it's colorful, comes in a different glass. If it's tasty, I'm going to drink it. So hell yeah, sign me up for a Peak Punch. That sounds great. And sign me up for even more Peak Punches in actual games as well. That also sounds great.
He can punch me.
Well, we might need to find a new co-host for the show after one of those, but
Yeah. Well, or Cincy Light, if you're listening and you want to get really granular with a microbrew, when peach season rolls around next summer, Antoine Peak Jr.'s senior year, we need a nice, cool, crisp, refreshing beverage for a summer day. The Cincy Light Peak, Peak Peach beers, but we'll work on the title.
What if we just go to the Peach Bowl and then you have a peach beer? What if we did that?
I do that.
I do like that. I think we're coming up with some good stuff here. But anyway, so, I know, Justin, you didn't get to watch the game, but Joel, just real quick, what did you think about, just kind of like this performance and seeing how, we've seen this team kind of, come up short in a lot of these different moments. And this time they were the ones that came out on top.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, first of all, you're absolutely right about the broadcast. I thought it was very enjoyable and very well done. I had the exact same thought as well. Anytime the Bearcats did anything good, I felt like there was no energy whatsoever from the announcer, or at least from play-by-play. So, hopefully we get some of that moving forward if we do have more broadcasts on TNT, but absolutely I'll take TNT any day over ESPN+. That was a very, very decent broadcast. Looking at the actual game, I mean, Cardiac Cats were back, and they didn't let us down this time. It felt so good to watch Sorsby lead this team. If you know, I mentioned it right after the game ended, and it had shades of Nebraska going down to the final drive, where we were set up to drive down the field, take the game at the very end, and it was a nail biter. And in true Cardiac Cats fashion, it came down to the very end. But I think the big difference, honestly, credit kind of has to go to coaching for how we pulled out that game, because we ran the ball, we kept the clock running. And we continued to get those chunk plays. And that was something where I think for, the end of the Nebraska game, that decision to throw on, I think it was first down on that throw, right? At the end of the Nebraska game?
Yes, correct. Yeah, on that last drive, it was first down, correct.
And I get the mindset behind taking the shot when you think the defense will least expect it. And it was just a poor throw. But Scoresby to have the confidence to lead the team down the field and then to continue to get those chunk plays to open up the field and score the game-winning touchdown. I mean, you really can't ask for anything more other than just a 50-point blowout win. So hell yeah, sign me up for this version of the Bearcats, getting the win without Corleone as well. I think it's a huge. You hate to say morale win in a loss, but I think in a win, you absolutely can say it's a win in the record book. It's also a win for morale because it teaches this team and this fan base, holy shit, we can do this. Like, we can go on the road in the Big 12 and compete with a team that isn't a pushover. It's not a UCF by any means. So yeah, I came out of this game very hyped, very excited for this upcoming week.
So, well, real quick, I wanted to add here because I didn't get a chance to watch the full game. I watched the highlights, I watched clips, got through, and then I also shout out to the Bearcats account for actually posting the entire final drive, all 11 minutes and like 1 second of it. Chef's kiss, perfect. One of the biggest things that we've kind of mentioned is that to Joel's point, Kansas is a prickly team. Like they hang around. They can pretty much compete with anybody in the Big 12. They've never really just had a position where they've just gotten bullied by anybody. They've always kind of been competitive, at least in our time in the Big 12. Credit to Lance Leipold for that. But all of these things said in that final drive, that was the one separator, and I think is the most important takeaway from this game. I put this out in a tweet yesterday. If you look back at a few of these games, the Pitt game last year, the Texas Tech game, and the TCU game, and then the Nebraska game this year, all four of those games, the Bearcats had the ball with the opportunity to make the game-winning drive and seal it with 3 minutes or less left on the clock. In one of those situations, it was a minute, but they had good field positioning. So all four of those situations, they had the opportunity to do it, and they lost every single time. And so I think that's kind of the thing that we've all been looking for, amongst other things, is just for a way for the Bearcats to actually capitalize. It's not necessarily an easy thing. It's never an easy thing to go out and win a game, but it's certainly a core feature that you need. And especially later in the season, you need to be able to find those little opportunities when they come along to go and just win a game and make the play when it matters. And thankfully they did that here. And that's the reason that they won. And sometimes that's all you need. You don't need the whole game to go your way. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need one drive to go your way at the right time. And that's what they figured out how to do, which is huge.
Well, and then in the post-game press conference, one of the people asked Satterfield about that, and he said, yeah, we needed to see the fruits of our labor. It's been 3 years, and it's finally come to fruition now. And I think it was I think as fans, we can kind of be in a house money phase with this year, because if this year turns out to be a lot better than maybe we thought it was going to be, we know that, one, we're not going to give this guy an extension, so we can just not really worry about that. But two, on the other hand, we can just enjoy potentially raising the ceiling of this season. I think this win is a ceiling changer, and there's this was definitely a game that I think before the season I looked and I just did not really know if it was a stone cold victory for us, and now that's confirmed, it changes the calculus. You're already at 3 wins. You need 3 more to get to a bowl game. Obviously, I think we all would have liked to have that Nebraska game back after seeing like what they've kind of become. But we can only move forward from this, and this is just like such a positive. I think the other thing too I wanted to touch on real quick, and I try. How about that? I try to not be a blame the refs guy for everything, but they were awful in this game. They were just terrible. Took 4 touchdowns off the board. One, there was like a kind of a blatant hold, but if they weren't calling it one way, they shouldn't be calling it the other way. And then the other one was like a very light block in the back that was like maybe one hand on like the back shoulder plate, and the guy kind of fell, and that kind of took a punt return touchdown off the board. I also didn't review a couple different spots of the ball, like one where Gavin Grover probably scored, like had the nose over the plane of the end zone, and they didn't give it to UC, and where Kansas went for it on 4th and 1 and did not reach the line to gain, but somehow the ball was spotted to give them the line to gain. Seemed a little bit one-sided with the stripes there, but I think that's another thing too that Coach Satterfield talked about in his post-game press conference, that it's a thing where you could have just given up, be like, all right, we'll get them next week, but no, they were resilient. They held to their own, they stuck to their guns, and they kept going. And I think that was just such a nice thing to see, because Joel, like I said earlier, we were spoiled in 2021 and 2020 and 2019 and we had such a good 4-year stretch there, and I think this first 2 years in the Big 12 has kind of been left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It's not anything that anybody wants, obviously, but just as a fan, like, it feels nice to see your team like just pull one out of the fire in a situation where they had not been able to in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think one thing I want to add real fast too. Well, Joel, do you have any points to mention?
No, I was gonna hype up Sorsby, but Justin, go ahead.
Well, okay, so this is one thing I want to talk about, and actually kind of does talk about the battle here between Sorsby and Jalen Daniels. So again, Sorsby going 29 for 43 with 2 touchdowns. Daniels going 19 for 28 with 4. A big thing here that I think, again, speaks to the resiliency of the Bearcats in this game. They're pretty much 16 yards per throw. Like that's where Kansas averaged in this game, which is huge. Like that's, we just could not figure out a way to get around it. I know they did have some big plays. But again, when they're putting up 440 yards of passing offense, finding a way to win that game on the road is huge. Like that's a really stellar performance from a quarterback perspective, for their wide receiver, 5 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 214 yards for Henderson. Like you have some really good performances from Kansas, and you still found a way to put yourself in the right position to win it. And I think, again, a lot of that credit goes to how well Kansas played, but I think a lot of this too just goes to the offense being able to keep pace. Some days your defense is not going to be able to do it. Clearly that happened in this past weekend. You really don't want to be letting up 34 points in the Big 12, but if what we've kind of seen from the rest of the Big 12 holds true this season, it seems like we might be going back to the classic type of Big 12 where there's some higher scoring games and there's some teams that are able to put on some points, and that's going to be the emphasis. From everything that I saw from this game, at least from, again, didn't get to watch every minute of it, but from all the highlights and everything that I was able to collect here, it kind of had, in a way, a feel similar to the Texas Tech game last year, except you figured out the thing that went wrong. You figured out the way to actually convert when it mattered. And you figured out the way to just kind of dominate the parts of the game that you need to do in order to win. And that's a huge part that I think, again, like, just speaks to the progress that the team's made, speaks to some of the, congruency between these guys, some of the chemistry building. I think those are huge. Like, you have to be able to show that progress, and that's something we've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, Justin, you mentioned chemistry building, and I saw just today that Brendan Sorsby actually takes out the offensive line to Jeff Ruby's after every win. So talk about some culture building. Also talk about some, Steve, drink some more Cincy Lights, because we got to get some NIL funding into Sorsby's pockets if he's taken an entire offensive line group to Jeff Ruby's.
I'm sure they're going to eat.
But no, just to hype up our quarterback real quick, he's the number 1 rated quarterback in PFF in the entire country right now, and he's 6th in total QBR. So, he's had a very impressive start to the season. Yeah, Nebraska, we came out flat, and, honestly, we did not perform well at all, and the record books show that. But I think this team, like as it stands today, getting into the season, working out some kinks. Just our receivers meshing with Sorsby now. I think this team in that Nebraska game looks a lot different than how we actually started. But, I'm not Justin Herbert. I'm not the SEC, so I'm not going to play the what if game. But, it does feel really good moving forward in the season, knowing that we've got some things working for us.
I'm all for it, and I love that you said Justin Herbert there. I'm such a Herbert hater, and it's just beautiful. But and I think that there's a lot of possibility that like Sorsby can have with this guy, and like shout out to a guy like Noah Jennings who kind of just like stepped up out of nowhere on Saturday for that final drive and like just put a hand up there to bring that ball down. Like that's a huge conversion there to keep the line moving. And if we don't have that, that's game over right there. Like, there were so many different things that led to that drive happening that are not going to go noticed by many people. And like that was just such it was just an amazing moment for him to just stick that paw up, and then just for the ball to just roll down his arm and into his grasp, like just beautiful.
Huge.
I mean, you that 4th down conversion, I think I was standing in my living room just unable to believe that he was able to bring that in. That was an incredible play.
Yeah. I want to add this too as a final point on Kansas before we move on to Iowa State here. Again, like making those plays at the big times was absolutely necessary. Another thing that I think is really important to mention here, when you look across some of the other like little pieces and parts of this game, Bearcats 3 for 3 on 4th down. That's huge. And then as far as first downs go too, like you're outgaining them in first downs, 0 turnovers from the Bearcats in this game, which is huge. Like when is the last time that the Bearcats had 0 turnovers in a game against a Power 4 opponent? Like I don't know if anyone can think of it off the top of your head. Like
my expression there says it all. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know if it's happened. I think this might be the first time this has happened, quite honestly, since we've been in the Big 12. I really don't know. We'd have to kind of check through maybe the Houston game from last year.
That's possible.
It's just been something that I think we've been trying to figure out, that turnover battle for a hot minute. And so to finally be in a position where you're just kind of taking advantage of that when you can is huge. But all of that said, that kind of wraps up the Kansas game. Again, Bearcats now 3-1, 1-0 in Big 12 play. And they've got a pretty strong test here this weekend for them. This is, again, I think if you look at the rest of the schedule that the Bearcats have out in front of them, they have some very tough opponents, some opponents that are becoming a little bit more prickly than initially expected. But one that we all kind of marqueed before the season started, we knew was not going to falter at this point in the season. The Bearcats have Iowa State, currently ranked 14th, coming up this weekend. It's a noon kick in Nippert. I'm curious, boys, how do we feel just as an initial putting your little vibe feelers out there? How are we feeling about this game?
I mean, it's got to be a Cats by 90 game, right? Look, coming off a huge win, I think the 2 home games that we've had so far this year, between Bowling Green coming off of the Nebraska game, fans were very apprehensive about what we were about to get. And then, of course, we played a high school JV team after that, where the entire stadium was gone by halftime. So this will be, I think, the first big home game where people are excited. And I think the energy is going to be insane. Especially because it'll be two good teams in the Big 12 that'll be competing. Neither of these teams is a pushover. So I think fans can expect a really good game. Weather's supposed to be beautiful as well. And, I'll be there at tailgate right when it opens. So I think it sucks that we have another nip at noon game, but we're one of a few teams in the Eastern time zone in the entire Big 12. So I think we forget about that sometimes, and we're going to get a lot of earlier games.
Yeah. Real quick to add to
We're
your
going to
point,
get the show a few times.
Speaking of, neither of these teams really being pushovers. Of course, we know that Iowa State's been in a really strong position thus far. The Bearcats, as it currently stands, according to our friend Kelly Ford, Steve, where are the Bearcats sitting?
28th.
28th. So we're on the outside looking in, but you're saying there's a chance. There's a chance with this weekend. There is opportunity ahead of us.
Yep. Well, and then SP Plus has UC at 39th as well. Iowa State favored by a few points by SP Plus, but it just has all the makings of a good game, and I think the crowd's going to be up for it, ready for it. First time we're going to have a ranked opponent in the building since that Oklahoma game in 2023. Before that, it was the Houston game in 2021. So it's not really often that we get a ranked team here at Nippert. And so hopefully as the Big 12 supremacy takes over college football, we'll get more and more. And in the future, but it's going to be an awesome game, and I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, hey, the last time Matt Campbell came to the state of Ohio, he walked out with an L. So, and yeah. I'm just wondering to see if there'll be any Iowa State fans yelling at him from the sidewalk again this time around.
That would kind of be our hope. We'll see how that goes. For a quick recap for those of you who need the catch up. So thus far through the Big 12, when the Bearcats have been in it, at least, Bearcats have had 2 matchups with Iowa State. They have their third this weekend. The first one was a 30-10 loss at home in 2023. Last year, they went on the road in November, 34-17 loss. Again, more of the season just kind of getting away from them. Lots of turmoil at that point in the season. And now setting up a really good position where, again, if you can find a way to, quite honestly, I still think Iowa State's pretty far ahead of this team. If you can find a way to sneak one in here, I think that would be huge. So talking about sneaking one in here, we're going to sneak another guy in here because there's going to be 4. We're going 4 wide at this point. 4 wide, that is. We are going to add our friend Brownie to the chat. Welcome,
Brownie. Hello.
He's muted.
Might help if I actually unmuted myself, huh?
First L taken this week by Iowa State.
Damn.
Just starting.
Yeah. I mean,
how you doing, my man?
You guys. Oh, great. I mean, Justin, you had it set up so perfectly to say that it was about to be like a 4-way at Skyline, and you just shattered it. So,
man.
he technically took the first L, and I took the second. So now we're even.
That's what we're gonna do to our toilet bowls on Saturday. We're gonna shatter them.
Happy Chili Bowl week.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the cinnamon roll is greater than the sketty, but we'll eventually get there. I kind of messaged you guys earlier saying that I had something really funny to share from you guys from 2021. For your fans that don't know, Wide Right Natty Light is a satirical website that I write for, and I have some pretty deep ties to. And we have a Discord channel, and there are some pretty hot takes in said Discord channel, especially when it comes to food. So back in 2021, when the fake realignment news was coming out about like Cincinnati, UCF, potential Boise State, there was all that turmoil, and Bob Bowlesby decided to be an asshole and not let us have the super cool, big, awesome Big 12 that we have now 2 years earlier. Somebody said, I would absolutely love to go to Cincinnati. It is one of the best regional dishes in America. High praise, not gonna lie. He also said that he would literally go every game at Cincinnati specifically for Skyline Chili. Kudos to him. I had Skyline Chili. It was a thing. And somebody then came on and said, it's delicious for sure, but it's not chili. It's chili adjacent.
I will defend that take because I absolutely agree. I was originally born in Michigan. We moved down when I was about 10 years old, and I did not like Skyline growing up until 3 a.m. in college, going to the Skyline right on campus. And I think 100%, if you think of, regional food for all of our Big 12 brothers, and you think of chili, you think of something, thick and savory.
Thick, meaty
yeah,
beans.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's not what Skyline is. Skyline is 100% a Coney condiment. Like it is a meat sauce rather than a true chili. So I will defend that take all day long. Now, I will also defend Skyline until I die because it is tasty. But 100% I get, it might not be everyone's favorite first time they try it, but you give it a few chances and you'll fall in love.
Right, and this is where it actually got really funny because a lot of people jumped up against the chili adjacent, for Skyline chili fans everywhere, by saying you're correct. It's not our chili but it doesn't mean it isn't chili. So our argument was chili overall, not chili adjacent. And then said individual went on about, oh, well, you don't use ancho chilies or chili powders, so therefore it can't be considered chili because that's required for it to be chili. And then we started all defending, well, Skyline chili is not supposed to be spicy. It's supposed to be savory because it's going on spaghetti. It's going on Coney dogs. And then the guy was trying to defend that take by saying that you guys needed to load it with a bunch of cheese because the chili was so bad. And then we just kept railing on about how that was a hot take. No, it was a hot take adjacent. And then it just started a very long line of adjacent jokes.
Okay.
About how Iowa State plays football adjacent. And how the Big 12 is expanding adjacent.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of funny because if you ever see anything that I post where it's like Skyline chili is adjacent, it's literally to our Wide Right Natty Light audience. It's one of the stupidest and funniest moments, I think, in our Discord because it was just so unhinged. I mean, there was almost 50 people in that conversation.
Wow.
It causes controversy. It is what it is.
Discord honestly kind of scares me sometimes because like when there's everybody going, like it's almost just like an overload. So I can imagine.
And it's unhinged. It got unhinged real quick. And I'm always here for utter chaos. I will agree, and I will say that Skyline chili is far better between the hours of 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. than they are for lunch. I will say that right now.
The one counterpoint,
just like Casey's Pizza.
Fair. I think the one counterpoint for that is 11 a.m. right when they open on a Sunday after you're out until 3 a.m. the night before. Like if that's your first hangover food. Yep, 100%.
The other thing too is that people
Hit
are
me up
going
with a
wrong.
Chinese buffet.
Oh, okay.
Skyline also rolled out breakfast this year. So they've
breakfast
got some
burritos.
They've got some breakfast burritos.
No shot.
They've got breakfast conies with a sausage link instead of a hot dog.
Yeah. It's at the airport too. So if you want to just think up your local flight, you can do that. So.
But I'll also say, go ahead.
Even funnier thing about that too is the company that my wife and I work for. We were actually working with Skyline last year. For one of their Microsoft migrations, and they were like, "Yeah, whenever you're out in Cincinnati, let us know, and we'll take you to one of our locations." And my wife was like, "Would I like it?" And I was like, "No, you would not."
Well, and
I can confidently say that.
Skyline, of course, is the most popular, brand and the most popular restaurant when it comes to Cincinnati chili. But you've got all the local chili parlors as well that are more of your, thicker, more savory chilies, but still have that Cincinnati, the Cincinnati spice blend.
Okay, so, real fast while we're here.
We're not talking about football anymore, Justin.
Like
we're just talking about
8 minutes about just chili.
And that's great.
Skyline. Everybody
and that's
loves
great.
The chili bowl, Justin.
I get it.
It's the chili dang
bowl.
chili bowl.
I understand it, but we got to talk football. We're getting a little off course here. Just got to reel it in. We can still keep it on Chili adjacent, but we're talking football focus. So
it's going to be football adjacent.
With that said, Iowa State currently ranked 14th. They are 5-0 as it currently stands, which is the best record for the moment in the Big 12. Of course, some teams had some buys already. Iowa State in a good position right now. Kansas State did its job and just absolutely crapped the bed really early on. A big contender that we were all looking at, and so Iowa State right now kind of standing out amongst the crowd. Currently tied with Arizona State at 2-0 in Big 12 play. Big opportunity here for both Cincinnati and for Iowa State to capitalize on this week and kind of just, again, the Bearcats thus far have looked like a team that can surprise some people and contend in the Big 12. And Iowa State is looking for, a little bit of that kind of statement win. I think they had that this past week with Arizona. I'm curious what you would say, Brownie, here on week 1 with the Kansas State game in Ireland. Of course, we all saw that Kansas State did not turn out to be quite a good team this season. And if you look across the other games, they did figure out how to beat, Iowa at home, game winner. Just kind of a weird game against Arkansas State on the road that probably put some worry into you guys.
Strictly waterfall.
And then last week with Arizona. So I'm curious what the general feeling is for Iowa State fans as how the season is going thus far. You're 5-0. I think you all probably expected to be 5-0 at this point. How do you feel going into this week?
So for most fans looking outside in, when you typically look at the first couple of games for Iowa State, you're going to see a lot of what we consider the cardiac clones, which is, having heart attacks all the time because we could win, we could lose. However, when you deep dive realistically into it, Matt Campbell is a slow starter. He's ultra conservative. Kleiman is also a slow starter, ultra conservative. I don't think either team was wanting to pull out all of the tricks in the book week 1, even if it meant a potential conference championship game. It's just one of those things where we would have won by more because we also need it on the 1 yard line at the end of the game. So you have to take that into consideration. Do we really win by 3 or would we have won by 10?
Right.
Then you go into Iowa. Same thing. We get the ball back in the red zone. We knee it out. We have a couple of other things. We kicked that game winner for, what was that, 53-yarder, 54-yarder? Back-to-back years. Exact same thing. We could have won by, we could have won by more against Iowa as well. There was just a couple of mental errors. That Arkansas State game, need that bad boy out in the red zone as well. We could have scored more points. When you look at our red zone efficiency, most of our failed attempts in the red zone are because we need out. Rocco did throw a pick last week against Arizona. I believe that one was in the red zone or just right on the fringe of the red zone, because we were still going for that consecutive touchdown record. But honestly, I think Iowa State as a whole, for that fan base, we were wanting kind of that dominant win, a convincing win to where we could, as fans, go, hey, we can leave in the fourth quarter and it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. Usually when we leave in the fourth quarter, it doesn't matter anymore because we suck. But now it's because we're sometimes too good. It happened during the South Dakota game as well. So for us going into this week, I will say that there is a little bit of cause of concern. I don't know if you guys saw any of the major news that came out today, but we did lose Jontez Williams for ACL for the rest of the season. So that is our second starting cornerback that is out in the exact same week. Both of them torn ACLs. One was in practice. That was Jeremiah Cooper, who transitioned from the safety position to the corner because we had worries about the corner depth, just because Trey Bell wasn't fully up to speed yet. John Heacock obviously came on, said that he's not overly worried about it. blah 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 blah. One man doesn't make the team or define the team, yada yada yada. Well, guess what, buddy? It's not one man that's defining the team. It's your entire skill position at defensive back that is out. One of our safeties was in a sling because it looked like he might have dislocated or had a stinger or something. I'm not fully sure yet. Still kind of waiting for the injury report to come out about Coleman's. So kind of look for that as well on there. If he's also out, now we're down like 3 defensive backs that are all starters. That I think is the primary worry for Iowa State fans is secondary, just because Brendan Sorsby obviously can let you up whenever he feels like it. For us, it's more of, are we getting the Nebraska Sorsby or are we getting last week's Sorsby? Because Brendan did not look good against Nebraska. I hated it. I personally thought that he should have thrown a stinger instead of a floater.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
Didn't we all?
What do I know? I'm just a couch guy. I never played quarterback. I can't tell him how to throw a football. But yeah, I think realistically that and you guys stealing fight from me, which freaking low blow. Hate that so much. I think Tyson Veit is probably going to be the wild card in this game. I mean, he obviously knows Matt Campbell. He knows Matt Campbell's philosophies. The offense has changed a little bit since he's left. Not too much, because we are starting to see more of the offensive playbook from Tom Manning's time when Veit was still the assistant head coach / linebackers coach. So there is a little bit of overlap there. But yeah, it should definitely be interesting, because I do think that you guys have gotten a lot better defensively the past couple of years under his leadership, kind of getting his guys in. Plus, I mean, you guys still have Corleone, which is an absolute freaking unit. And thank God for whatever heart and lung issues that he had, that he's gotten over it. Because I love that dude.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, like, I'm hoping Dom Orange gets to play on Saturday too, because
Big
like just to watch,
citrus.
yeah, get to watch both of those guys like go back and forth against each other on defense would just be fun. You did mention though, like you said, so we're gonna have a full crowd this time. Like we're not leaving early this time. I promise. Like it's hopefully
sure.
I mean, hey, 2023 was a mirage for all of us. Like
2023, you guys packed it up on homecoming by halftime.
I mean, I think the season was packed up in like week 3.
Did you blame them?
I was going to say, you guys were 2-4 at that time. So honestly, no, I do not, because it was also cold and it was raining and I was there and it was miserable.
Yeah. That
miserable for literally everybody. I don't know how anybody withstood that entire time except for Cyclone fans, because we were allowed to drink beer in the stadium.
You guys not allowed to drink beer at Jack Trice?
No. That's the huge running joke. We don't allow beer sales to the poor peasant people.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
so
I don't know if you saw my post, but there's no Busch Light this week, so you're gonna.
That's fine. I'll bring Ames Lager. That's fine. Ames Lager all day. No. So if you guys have ever seen, like, if you've been to Jack Trice Stadium, there is a small section in our south end zone called the Souk Up end zone. Or if you guys just Google it and you pull up a picture, it's like the super fancy finished end zone, not the one with the weird ass building and the giant jumbotron over it. That is the rich people end zone. You have to pay lots of money in order to get there, and it's absolutely hilarious because they are super shitty seats, in my personal opinion, because you can't even see the whole field. Like, why would I spend thousands of dollars to only be able to see an end zone? You know what I mean?
Yeah, just pocket basket.
Yeah. So they pay a lot of money for it, but they get alcohol, they get food, they get their own private bathrooms, whatever. Cool. But yeah, us slob, quote from our athletic director, us slobs do not deserve alcohol. Which is why we leave at halftime to go shotgun beers.
Your guys' athletic director stinks. Like, he's not gonna not fighting for.
Don't even start.
Okay, all right. We won't start.
He. This is what I hate. I can hate that man all day, but I have to respect him for what he did for Iowa State, because he's gotten the Matt Campbell hiring right. He's gotten the TJ Otzelberger hiring right. he's been able to hold on to other coaches. Like, yeah, he got rid of Cael Sanders, Cael Sanderson, who's arguably like one of the greatest wrestlers ever of all time, to Penn State. But I mean, he's doing some really stupid boneheaded moves by no beer sales, making whatever the hell Sci-Town is. Just, yeah, it's been rough. But yeah, I think I personally liked Nippert when I went there. I don't know if it's changed since the last time I was there because I went in. Well, I tried to go tailgating, and I think I went on the wrong side because I was on the traditional side with the old bricked building
Mm.
in that end zone, and then I went into, I think, your guys' library or bookstore, and then I was trying to get to the other side, and apparently you can't.
Yeah, away game
Be-
away fan navigation can be a little difficult sometimes. It is
Yeah.
dead center campus, but like knowing the whereabouts of how to navigate going from this side of campus to this side of campus when the stadium is blocked off, very confusing. I will say that
Yeah,
even as
like-
somebody who went there, who's been going there their entire life.
I mean, I thought I was doing good because like we were following a pack of Cincinnati fans where they were like, "Oh yeah, like we're going over to this side," and then all of a sudden, like we get to the bottom of the elevators and we're at like the 50-yard line gate, and they're like,
Mm.
"Hey, you need to scan your ticket to get in." And I
Yeah.
was like, "I don't want to scan my ticket to get in. I want to go and party on the other side." And they're like, "Well, you can, but then you can't leave." I'm like, "What the shit? Why?" I
Well-
was like, I just want to go crush some beers with people. Like, come on.
Yeah,
That
as
is the goal of
from
this weekend.
from the tailgating crowd who plays Flip Cup and and Pong and every other game like right on the grid, I feel for you. I'm sorry that you missed out on that experience. So please, if you are coming this weekend, let me know and I will get you hooked up.
Oh, I wish. It might be a few years. Got a newborn around, so gotta wait it out a little bit. Thanks.
Fair enough.
We've
All right.
oh, go ahead, Steve.
No, you're good, Justin.
I was just gonna say we've only got really like one more thing that's really important to cover here. We got to say
Sure.
on. So unless you got something else, Steve.
No, that was what I was going to say. So
Okay,
high
well,
mind.
All right. Well, the Bearcats and the Cyclones matched up this weekend, 11 a.m. start for those in God's time, Central Time. Yeah, I know. See, look at y'all. Yeah, God's time, right?
Yeah,
Central Time.
God's time.
Exactly. Thank you.
God's time zone.
Losing that battle all the time. Steve used to be on my side, and then he moved back to Cincinnati, and now he's just, screwed off to the other side. Anyways,
East Coast elitist is what we call that.
yeah, there you go.
And you're not even on a coast.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hey,
we allow
Cincinnati is
alcohol
San Diego to
sales
the
here.
Midwest.
Ohio
I'm okay.
River Coast elitist.
Yes, I'm okay with the Coast Elitist because we sell alcohol in our stadium.
Wow.
You know,
That's fine.
once
We just get parking lot beers. That's fine. We get a shotgun our beers.
we
We
have
do
those
both.
too.
We do both.
We have
Two
trench
things-
coats full of beer as people walk in the stadium. Ask
Two
people
things
about
can be
that. That's a
true.
real thing.
We
That-
used to do that. Thanksgiving games, we're now allowed to bring our food in.
Metal detectors don't pick up shooters.
That they don't. So our closing question for you and for all four of us. The Bearcats are currently somehow, this is a little Vegas sprinkled action here, somehow 1.5 point favorites at home against number 14 Iowa State, something that literally none of us saw coming. Again, 1.5 point favorites. The line for this game is 53.5. I'm curious. If we were to go across the board, we're going to go left to right because it's easiest to do. Joel, Brownie, myself, and Steve. Can Iowa State cover? Can they win? And also, how are we feeling about that spread at 53.5?
I definitely think over. I think this is going to be a very high offensive game. I mean, I feel for your two top corners that unfortunately are out with injuries, but I think that bodes very well for the Bearcats. But I think Iowa State is very talented to fight back against I almost hate to say untested Bearcats team, but we had one test, right? I don't think the entire season has I mean, obviously it hasn't happened yet. So I think it'll be a high scoring game. I think over for sure. And I got to take the Bearcats probably 34-31, I'd say.
Okay. All right. Brownie, what you got?
So I think what's going to happen, because we have our two best corners out, is we are going to see the professor do some kind of voodoo magic again by coming back out with some ridiculous like 4-3 defense or 3-4 defense and just stack linebackers. And we have the linebacker depth now with the experience. I feel like we're going to transition maybe Neil down to maybe our fourth linebacker, play different star safety. Technically, it'd still be a 3-3-5, but now you just got a 5'11", 220-pound wrecking ball coming at you instead of a linebacker. I personally think that we're going to be under 53.5. I know that that's what, 27-ish. Like it'd have to be a 27-26 game in order to hit the over or something like that. I think it's going to be a 24-21. Bend don't break mentality on both sides. I think Fight is going to have Iowa State's offensive number, and I think Iowa State's going to win it on a 24-second touchdown drive by Rocco Beck, because Exelston or somebody is going to be wide ass open on the back.
That would be a very Cincinnati thing to happen, unless you're talking about last week's Cincinnati Bearcats. For myself, I would say that in this game, originally the line opened at 51.5. I would have very comfortably taken the over there. However, a few more points here, 53.5. It's going to be a tight one. I would lean towards the over here. I think again, with some of the injuries happening in the back for Iowa State, like this is just going to be one of those things that with a little bit of a weaker secondary there, the Bearcats have finally figured out how to score some points. Clearly they can keep up with offense. Traditionally, I think this would be a little bit more of a defensive showing, especially when you're playing Iowa State, but I think they got a little bit more to show here. So I'm going to go, go the over, and then Bearcats. I think the Bearcats are going to cover in this game. I feel like there's a little bit of magic happening right now. 1.5 points. I think this is a solid 3-point affair. I agree with Joel. And even, with you, Brownie, this is a 3-point game. It's going to be tight. That's how this game is going to be, no matter what, unless something just ridiculous happens. So I'll take Bearcats. $30-27.
So I'm leaning under here, and I'll tell you why. So Iowa State has kind of played within the 20s or lower against their top tier competition this year. Even Arkansas State was not like the highest scoring affair that we've ever seen, and I don't think that's a bug. I think that's kind of by design. Rocco is going to take the throws that he can get, and if you saw Cincinnati's defense on Saturday, there are probably going to be a lot of open throws that he's going to take if he can get them. So it's possible that Iowa State could just score 30, and then Cincinnati won't be able to keep up. It all depends on if Cincinnati is going to be able to run the ball. And Brownie, you mentioned if they're going to run like a 3-4 or a 4-3 and stack the box and force Cincinnati to consistently throw, even against those. Against backup defensive backs, it might still be tough. Like I do think that Iowa State has a better defense than Kansas, so that's going to be a tough assignment for the Cincinnati offense. It's going to come down to if Cincinnati can run the ball effectively like they did on Saturday and against Nebraska. So with that, I kind of see it as like a time of possession battle, a special teams punt battle a little bit. If Iowa State were to pull away, I think it would be like a 30-31-14 type of thing, but I can't come on my own show where I cover the Bearcats and pick Iowa State. I mean,
sure you can take off those red tinted glasses and put on whatever color Iowa State wants to be for this week.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all
right.
he
I
knows.
was
He
I
knows,
was
he
gonna
understands.
ask. I was gonna ask the question: will they actually wear their colors this week?
They will.
I will.
It's going to be a white with probably like the red gold script cyclones,
That
and
would
then
be.
probably white on white. I think, unless you guys are going to be rocking with white pants, then it'll probably be red pants.
I don't think we'll be wearing red pants. I think we'll probably do like a black helmet, red jersey, black pants, like kind of like probably the same look we wore last time. But I would also not be surprised if we did like maybe like a black helmet, white pants, and black. So
Yeah.
maybe you guys will wear the red pants. We'll see. But
Yeah, if you guys wear white pants, we'll probably bring the reds.
I'd be-
If you guys are all color, we're going to be all white with the red and gold trim.
I'd be shocked if we are all black. I think we're saving that for a true nip at night.
Yeah, no,
Like,
no,
a, like a blackout.
yeah,
Yep. Nip at night is a crazy experience.
yeah. I'm
I've seen it on
excited.
TV. I've seen snaps of it, and I've seen things on X about it. That is one of the games that I would love to go to, or a night game at West Virginia. Those are like my
Ooh, yeah.
two tops.
For sure.
Well, we've got a few more things to close out here because I don't know if Iowa just residents would even know about this, but the Reds are playing October baseball, and it's happening very
Go
soon.
Cubs, go!
Oh my
Go
God! Get
Cubs,
this guy
go!
off of the show. I'm muting
Hey,
him. I'm muting him right
Chicago!
now. No, he lost his privilege to speak. That's it. There is no more of that bad juju in this arena today. That's the most Iowa thing I think I could ever imagine. Just picking
We don't have professional sports.
Yeah, I know. Just cherry picking whatever sport around you in the generalized Midwest happens to be good. And
Hey
of
man,
course you
I'm a
not pick
Chargers fan. I went far West Coast for that shit.
Ah,
I got out of the Midwest. Nobody in the Midwest is good at football.
Hey, whoa. This guy's a Yankees Lakers fan, okay?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm Chicago everything else, but I learned that the Chicago Bears suck. So
So Cowboys it is for you.
So he chose somewhere else. Well, guess what? We don't get to choose that here. We get to watch the Reds suck for most of the time, pretty much our entire lives. They figured out a way to do it this year, and we get to watch the Bengals suck. But we do have to hit those real quick before that game starts. So, Brownie, thank you very much for joining us this week.
no
we really
problem.
appreciate it. Love the Iowa State perspective and coverage. And for those of you who do not know of our friend here, you can follow him on Twitter or X, whatever you still call it, at WRNL Brownie. That is where you will find our boy. Thank you again for joining us. Take it easy, and we'll have to throw some chili your way when we win.
Heck yeah.
You know, a little celebratory
Okay.
chili.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much,
guys.
man.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Thanks, man.
All right, boys. Guess what? We got to just run through this really fast.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
T-minus 13 minutes until first pitch for this game. So we need to just cover it quick. We have the October Reds. It's a thing. It's a thing now. We all thought they were dead. I think literally every single one of us and everybody that we know wrote off the Reds. But the Mets had the most monumental collapse you could possibly imagine. So many different things just did not go their way. And for once, the Reds have their day. That's what matters. They are playing October baseball for the first time in what feels like an absolute eternity. The vibes are high. They've got the Dodgers tonight. Do we think we can get them?
This is the game.
It is September 30th, but it is Red October. Reds October. I don't want the Phillies claiming that.
No,
you know, they're not the only red team. It is our namesake. This is Reds October. So hell yeah, we have a chance. I mean, look, the Reds are hot, right? They won their way in. You take away Sunday, Sunday's results. They made it in because they got hot. Sure, the stars aligned and they made it in because another team collapsed. But guess what? That's sports. That's how it. That's literally just how it happens. You got to be better than the guy you're competing against. So, hell yeah, the Reds have a chance. Yeah, they made the playoffs in 2020. The funky COVID year, but it's such an asterisk season that you don't really want to count it. So yeah,
people do not seem to care about that at all.
So this is the first year for a lot of, I know for each of us in our adult lives that our baseball team has been good. So hell yeah, let us be excited. Hell yeah, let us root for this team, and let's go win the whole damn thing. Let's see what happens.
I'd like to add this real fast too before you jump in here, Steve. Since their road trip to play the A's in mid-September, they have had 4 total losses. It's something incredible to watch. Just the run that they went on at the end. They swept Chicago, and they managed to take the series against Milwaukee at the end just to get just enough to get through. And again, that's I think kind of the baseball mantra at this point: find a way in, and then let the cards fall where they may. And they did.
Yeah. Hey, and with Game 1 starter Hunter Green going tonight, anything's possible. So I'm ready. Let's go. Get that dub. Bring it home. He's in his hometown. He's going to be pitching with emotion and fire. And as of our recording right now, 2 of the 3 road teams have won so far in tight games. So not saying anything, just thinking maybe it could, like, it's 2-1 Boston, top of the 9th. So anything could happen. We'll
if
see.
you could get Green into the 6th, 7th inning, somewhere around there,
That would feel real nice.
I think baseball is also such, Steve, to your point, it's such an emotional sport where if the vibes are high, the bats are going to be swinging heavier than usual, and pitchers are going to be, throwing more gas than usual as well. So hell yeah, let's, I saw a lot of flack for how hard the team celebrated on Sunday, but to the same point that we just mentioned, this is the first time in so long, what feels like an eternity, that we have anything to celebrate. So let the boys have fun. Let the boys celebrate. We won. We got in. Now let's, we're 14 wins away. So
yeah,
something like
exactly.
that. Yeah, pretty much.
Let's do it.
Here's the best part, boys. It's September 30th. It is 7:51 p.m. God's time, 8:51 for those of you on Eastern time. Anything could happen. Hopefully you're listening to this Wednesday morning as a Bearcats fan and hearing this, and you're like, oh, these guys don't even know what was coming. It was just a beautiful, beautiful, holy matrimony of baseball that we got to watch, and the Reds just did something incredible. Hopefully that's what we get, and you'll be the one to find out just as much as we will. So we're looking forward to it. We're very excited about that. On the flip side of things we're not excited about, that's right, it's the Cincinnati Bengals doing exactly what the Cincinnati Bengals did. I talked to a friend about this at work today, and unfortunately, he's a Steelers fan. Unfortunately, he didn't grow up with a local pro team, so he had to pick one, and he picked the Steelers. All that said,
Fake.
What his general understanding of the Bengals has been over the past few years is that, hey, they're like a good team. They're hot. They're fun. They're exciting to watch. And it's kind of just washed over, I think, a lot of people of what the Bengals actually are. You are watching exactly what the Bengals have always been and what they will always be. The only difference is they don't have Joe Burrow. What it feels like watching right now is watching that 2019 season before they got Joe Burrow, before everything else happened. This literally feels just like that. This is a culmination of an entire lifetime as a Bengals fan just coming back to surface. It was just a mirage. It was a short period of enjoyment. This is what actually being a Bengals fan is like. It's not what you think it's been the past few years. This is what it's like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, we had that little run, but it's September 30th, and it's weird to say now, but hey, at least we have the Reds. Like this. It's a little bit of a change. Yes, you're right, Justin. And as someone who went to multiple games in that 2019 season, I can't agree that season was rough to attend as a fan. So, our man Joel is going to his first Bengals game on Sunday, and so
our tickets like $5 now.
Here's the thing. Right?
The $5.
So
again?
I've been to Bengals games as a fan. I've been to plenty of Lions games growing up. When we moved down to Cincinnati, I went to preseason games. The Lions actually played in Cincinnati, a preseason game. I went to that. In college, I worked broadcast production, and I worked probably I'd say 8 Bengals games over a couple years span. So I've been in the stadium for games, but I've never been as a fan. And so I've got family in Michigan that was excited for this Lions season. My family is excited for this Bengals season. So, Labor Day weekend, they were down in town and we said, hey, we should all go to this game. Sounds like a great time. We're going to have two hot teams, two great teams competing. Let's buy these tickets. Yeah, they were pretty pricey because, it was going to be Joe Burrow and the Bengals versus Jared Goff and the Lions. And what happens like the week after we buy tickets? Burrow goes down. So 100% we should have waited to buy our tickets. 100% we are going to still have a great time. Look, I'm a fan of both teams, but I am Cincinnati through and through. Like Cincinnati, everything is my number one in all that I root for. My family
successfully converted.
Yes. Conversion therapy does work. My family that's coming down is not wearing Lions gear because you guys know how NFL games can get, especially when your team is bad and tempers are flaring. But we're like 3 rows from the field on the Lions sideline, so it should be a good time, at least with those that are around us. So, yeah. I'm excited to go. I'm excited to experience because I know they've made a bunch of improvements to the fan experience as well in the last couple of years. So I'm very excited to see that side of things from a fan perspective of getting to be in the stands rather than up in the production booth or down on the field. But wish I was going to see a better product because we are about to get smoked.
I think we all wish there was a better product.
Lions alt line, as big as you can take it. Whatever you can get, just take it. Put the mortgage on it, put the rent on it. It's man, we've scored 13 points and our opponents have scored 70 plus points over the past 2 weeks combined. So
if it was like 13 and a half, just take it to like 25, maybe
even higher.
30. Yeah. I'm just disgusted by every inch of this product that we've watched so far.
One very quick side story that I have that's very wholesome will cheer everyone up. So one of the family members that's coming down for this game this weekend is my nephew. He is, I think, a sophomore in high school. And back when he was in middle school and they would come down, he would come down and spend some nights with me on UC's campus, like in my college apartment. And we would, play video games. We would go down to Nippert, walk the field, kick field goals late at night. And, I was the fun uncle with him, right? And so he's a tight end linebacker for his high school team, and they didn't have a kicker going into this year. So the coach asked, hey, does anyone have any kicking experience? And my nephew got to raise his hand and say, yeah, like I've kicked some field goals before. He's now his varsity kicker and had a game-winning field goal a couple weeks ago. And he got the kicking role all because I took him to kick field goals on Nippert Stadium. So very, very wholesome, very heartwarming story.
I love
and
that.
Still find a way to bring it back to the Bearcats. That's beautiful.
Yep.
We have to close off this show because we are T-minus 2 minutes before first pitch. And Steve has a Bearcat Sports wrap-up that he will probably get faster than he has ever done in his entire life. Steve, hit us with that Bearcat Sports wrap, and we will promptly get out of here.
But then there's also one thing that Joel needs to add at the end. Okay, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Bearcat Sports wrap-up. Women's golf finished 7th in the Pat Bradley Invitational. Elise Reimer and Mara Garcia Jimenez delivered top 3 finishes to lead the team. Men's golf finished 5th in the Jim DeLapa Collegiate in Michigan this past weekend. Its third top 5 finish of the fall. Senior Ryan Ford earned his second consecutive top 10 finish, tying for 4th at 6 under for the tournament after a final round 1/71, while sophomore Leah Wesley used a 169 in the final round to tie for 14th at 1 under. Women's soccer, Cincinnati dropped its most recent match at Provo against BYU 3-0. Cats will look to secure their first conference victory of the season when Arizona State and Arizona come to town this Thursday and Sunday at Gettler Stadium. Be there. Baseball, they played some fall ball against Purdue this Saturday, and they banged out 20 runs in 2 games. So great to see the boys play some fall ball. They will play an inch-cross scrimmage not this Thursday, but next Thursday. So if you still got the itch for baseball, go see that. Volleyball, UC defeated West Virginia 3-1 at 3 matches to 1, or 3 games to 1 on Saturday at home for its first conference win of the season. So claps to the volleyball team. Cincinnati will host BYU today, as you're listening, Wednesday, and Kansas State Friday at Fifth Third Arena. Be there. And then finally, cross country will compete in the Gio Piani Notre Dame Invite this weekend up in South Bend, Indiana. And Joel, I believe you have a local Cincinnati culinary update for us as well.
Breaking news: Skyline Chili and your lovely, lovely Grater's ice cream, the collab that no one asked for, but everyone loved, has come back. And I don't know if it's here to stay, but it is officially coming back on Wednesday when this episode releases. So if you didn't get to try it because it sold out so quickly, go to Grater's as soon as you can. Get as much ice cream as you can, and it's tasty. It's a pumpkin pie flavor because it's the Skyline spice blend rather than actual, meat flavor. So it's got your nutmeg, your cinnamon, your chocolate. It's tasty. It's very, very.
If you haven't tried it yet, you need to try it. Joel, you don't need to list off all the ingredients because if you haven't tried it, you're a big fat fucking loser. Go try it right now. Sorry. Oh man, I just dropped a big F-bomb and I wasn't even trying to do that. But guess what? Go do it. Just eat the ice cream. Just do it. That's all you need to do. The Bearcats are going to play Iowa State this week. They're going to get a big fat dub. And the Cincinnati Reds are playing right now. We got to go watch that game. Y'all have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your day. We will hopefully come back here next week to cheer about a Bearcats W. Thank you for listening this week. If you're not already, make sure to check out Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. We are everywhere. And as well, shout out to the 1012 Network. Shout out to Phil. We love the coverage from all across the network, from all of our favorite teams, all of your Big 12 coverage. You can find there at the 1012 Network. Make sure to check it out. That's all we got. Let's go pull out those Dodgers packs right now. We need it. We need it. I'm ready. I need to watch some October baseball for the Reds, and it needs to be some dubs.
One last thing. Viva!
Cats, go Red Legs, baby.
Go Red Legs.
All right, boys.